This is going to be a little bit of a treat. Just picked this up today. This is the new Deftones Private music album, the indie exclusive release or limited edition fog gray vinyl. So I was actually kind of fortunate because, hold on, let me turn off the Wi-Fi. Okay, sorry for that brief pause. I had to turn off the Wi-Fi because this is kind of a big deal. This is the new Deftones album, Private Music, and I've been a big Deftones fan for, quite frankly, my entire life. So it's kind of funny actually because I listened to the Deftones when I was a kid, and the Deftones have been around so long that they were actually like a band that I knew of that like older kids listened to when I was a kid. So it's very unusual that a band makes this amazing music for this long. So I figured I'd go ahead and do a little bit of a listening party, and we'll probably just get through maybe the first half of this because I don't want this to run long and, so hit some copyright stuff. But this is just for viewing pleasure only, and I was very lucky to get the actual limited edition. And so we're going to take this out and check it out. Hey, Jade. How you doing? Glad you could jump in tonight. We're going to do a little bit of a listening to the first half of the new Private music. See, I don't really want to mess up the plastic. That's how much I kind of value this particular vinyl. Like, you can get the regular release for a couple bucks less. But being that I was able to get this support a local business, and pick up something awesome, I figured I would take the plunge. Now, let's extract it out. Look at that. You can get so the actual regular edition of the Private Music album comes out in the green. And there's just such amazing songs on here. I've already listened to a few of them on YouTube. Milk of the Madonna is probably my favorite. It's on side 2, so we'll probably come back tomorrow night and do side 2 and maybe check out some of the stuff. And then I'm going to do an actual long form video where I do a review of the album. I don't think I've heard of the Deftones. Wow, that's surprising. They've been pretty big. I mean, I guess if you're not into the kind of post-punk shoegaze noise rock scene, then whoa, this is pretty. Look at this. Let's see, pull this out. I want to act like I'm a vinyl aficionado and not touch this with my greasy fingers. Although they're making it a little difficult to get out. There we go. Does it have a protective coating? It doesn't. So I just compromise it with my greasy fingers. Look at this. Wow. I have never seen a vinyl record like that. That's referred to as, what do they call it? Fog? That is super cool. So the Deftones, just for those that aren't familiar, they're kind of they call it like shoegaze. They're kind of grungy, definitely very heavy as far as the agitated guitar sound, which is my preferred style of rock. You might look at bands like, probably my favorite band of all time, Hum, is actually an influence on the Deftones. And if you were familiar with that, then you could hear it. But sonically, this band is amazing. And the first song on this album is called My Mind is a Mountain, which, automatically has me intrigued. Being that this is one of the greatest bands of all time and that they've been consistently putting out amazing music for 4 decades. I mean, I can't even think of, Led Zeppelin didn't do that. The Beatles didn't do that. Not even Rush did that. So that's pretty amazing considering. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this. See how our sound levels go. So we're actually taking a break from karate because my hand is swollen from the bee stings. That's interesting. Awesome bass. think Abe Cunningham. I think Abe Cunningham is one of my favorite drummers of all time. Probably in my top 5. one of those manual turntables, so you actually got to pull the needle off of it. So I think that's all we will actually listen to from the new Private Music album, because I kind of want to savor it a little bit. And being that, again, I couldn't go to karate tonight because I don't know if you can see the difference between my two hands, but you can see my knuckles on this one, and this one's swollen. Same thing goes for my arm. Like right here, it's normal. And then here you can see how it's like all kind of bowed out. It's actually swollen from those yellow jacket bites. Bad Flower concert, that was pretty, yeah. I mean, like, real shows can be loud. Hum, I think, kind of went out of their way to be. It's kind of like back in the day, the Rolling Stones were supposedly, you know, way back before my day, the loudest band in the world. I think Hum was trying to take that record. And unfortunately, their drummer, Brian St. Pierre, passed away a couple years ago. And he was actually probably one of my all-time favorite drummers. And also the reason why Hum, they didn't break up, they just, you know, officially went on hiatus in 1999, I believe it was. Again, I was a little kid back then, so I guess the official reason was he was going into pharmaceutical sales to support his family, which in hindsight was kind of a crappy reason to break up Hum. But that is the first side of the new Deftones Private Music album. Again, surprisingly that a band can be this fresh with this much X factor and just the ability to command major riffs in the agitated guitar space. So looking forward to the second half. Second half probably has my favorite song on the album, Milk of the Madonna, which is a really amazing song. But yeah, it sucks I couldn't go to Filipino martial arts tonight, but maybe we'll take the opportunity and see if we can't complete a project or two, being that I have some time on my hands. So yeah, it sucks. I don't know if you can notice. Yeah, you can barely see my knuckles. Small venues are my favorite venues. I prefer small venues. The last show I went to back in December, when I got to go see the Jesus Lizard, I had to drive all the way up to, well, I didn't drive. I actually, you know, I bought 2 tickets early in the year, and then, you know, I couldn't take the one that I originally bought the ticket for, so I offered it to my my scientist at work, my Jewish scientist, and so he drove, which was kind of a trip, and we went up there and saw the Jesus Lizard, and it was kind of a trip because I hadn't seen the Jesus Lizard since I was a kid, and they're in the same space, the, you know, loud, screaming, post-punk, agitated guitar music, but also an influence on the Deftones and Nirvana, which is how we all heard of the Jesus Lizard in most of these bands, was because of Nirvana. But, and there is a lot of feedback coming from these monitors. Yeah, small venues are the best. You can get, it's just the setting is so much more intimate, and especially if, you know, the bands are good, like in the case of the Jesus Lizard and, you know, even Hum, you know, it can be a little annoying because it gets a little too intimate because you're down there and there's no seats, and, you know, those types of bands attract, excuse me for itching the hell. I got bit down here too. This one I think actually started bleeding. But in the case of the Jesus Lizard, like David Yao, the singer, would actually crowd surf, and he's known for crowd surfing with no clothes on. So, but back in their day in the 90s and stuff, it was a different scene. You could get away with a lot more. You know, people would slam dance and crowd surf, and it could get really sweaty and uncomfortable, especially if you're not a large person. So a lot of that from those types of shows, going to see bands like Hum and the Jesus Lizard, it were just kind of a different type of experience. So, but seeing the Jesus Lizard back in December was especially interesting because I mean, those dudes, when I was a kid, were old dudes. Like, they were old dudes to me because they were in a band called Scratch Acid from Texas, which was also a big influence on Nirvana. And so I actually bumped into them when I was just a young teenager coming out of the Chicago Recording Company on in the North Loop. I bumped into David Yao, singer, and David William Sims, the bassist from the Jesus Lizard, and they're just coming out casually recording. But anyway, shit. Good lord. Yeah, this one you might be able to see. It actually was bleeding earlier today. It sucks. I've never been stung with by bees in my adult life, and so getting stung by 10 of them was kind of an experience. And like, I'm really glad that I did not reveal myself to be allergic because I didn't have a EpiPen handy. So that was a bad deal. And my hand is still, I mean, you could see my bird bones here and like just a big pancake there. It's really itchy. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go deal with this. So anyway, Jade, let me know how you're doing sometime. Um, hope you're doing well. We're gonna come back and do some more streaming of the second half of this. Hopefully tomorrow night. Probably be tomorrow night. If anyone wants to join me, we'll do the second half, and then I have some video footage I took on my banjo. I finally found out where my banjo came from. Some dude on YouTube, I messaged him and he like sent me the info on the banjo. Apparently he's a banjo expert. So I'm gonna do a review of that banjo I've been schlepping around for 15 years. So yeah, those stings did me in. I'm like, it also isn't just the swelling and the inflammation, but it's like I feel like I'm kind of sick too, like my body's fighting something. But like obviously with one here, and then I had like one like right here on my thigh. I'm not gonna pull up my leg so you can see it, but there's like a giant welt right here. And I think I had technically like 3 stings here, and then one here, and then one there. So it was quite the saga. The mower's still sitting where they attacked me because I ran off of it running like this. And yeah, it was a trip. But anyway, I'm gonna run. So yeah, it's a lot for my body to deal with for sure. And I still woke up and you know went to the gym today and then went to work all day. So but I skipped out on the martial arts. Normally, what is it, 7:48? Yeah, I'd be getting ready. I'd be ending my karate class and getting ready to start my Filipino martial arts class at 8 o'clock. But I wore my Filipino martial arts shirt at least. Love, compassion, humility. That's the triangle. Anyway, have a good night.